You know, some people out there, when they talk, they fake the funk. You want brutally honest? Well, if you want brutally honest, look no further than CG Ruthless Sports.
CG Ruthless.
CG Ruthless Sports.
CG Ruthless.
If you want your sports talk to be brutally honest, come check out CG.
CG Ruthless.
If you're not watching CG Ruthless, I don't know what to tell you. Representing the Niner Empire.
CG Ruthless.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rams House. What's good, bro?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, tell me where the people can find you on social media platform.
So I mainly operate off of YouTube. You can find me at Rams House. That's just a channel to talk about the Rams. And as far as Twitter goes, I usually like to post art and stuff on there about the Rams, and that's at Rams House too. That's the only social media that I got, and that's what I'm sticking with.
Oh, that's good, man. So it's kind of been a while since we kind of had that little stream. So since that West tour, that was like an off-season hobby, but now it's kind of like we're going for this preview matchup. And this game does have a lot at stake. Like, what do you think of this overall game? Like, does it really determine you guys maybe getting the number 2 seed or the division or just 5th seed at worst,
Yeah, so it definitely is a huge game. I think whether it had implications on the playoffs or the division or not, I think just both teams don't like each other in this matchup, and the Rams want to get a win against you guys because I believe you guys have won 5 straight versus us. So I think even if we had won the division, we're number 1 seed or whatever, I think this would have still been a big matchup. But on top of that, obviously your guys' playoff hopes are riding on this as well. Our playoff hopes, we want to get the 2 seed, and if we win this game, we win the division. And so it's a huge game all around when you look at it, and I think it's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, here's what can work for you guys too. Like, let's say if it does come down the other way around, if you guys somehow lose, but then the Cardinals somehow lose, that would kind of still get you guys a division, but it wouldn't be the best case scenario. But
No.
hey, but you guys are still in no matter what. For the Niners, we have to just beat you guys or a Saints loss, and that's pretty much it. But like they say, plain simple. But when I look at this matchup, man, when I say I expect a good game, I'm always wrong about this one. I don't know why. It's like when we play you guys, it's like I don't get it. Like I'm like thinking the Rams are a pretty talented team, but when we play you guys, we make you guys look like a bottom feeder team out there. It's just surprising. Like I know you guys get sick and tired, just like how we feel about the Seahawks. So it's kind of like it gets annoying.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like for me, I'm past that point where I'm predicting the Rams to beat you guys because you don't have starters in, or I'm expecting us to win because all your guys are on injured reserve like last year. Like at this point, whoever's playing, I expect it to be a good matchup because you guys just know how to play us tough. And yeah, I mean, I think that this game is going to be very hotly contested. I do think it's going to be a really good game, and you guys are definitely going to be giving us a run for our money for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know this Rams team's going to be a lot different, but who knows? I mean, I said it last year. I said it the last matchup, and it was just the other way around. Like, we had Nick Mullins that beat you guys, and then we just had Jimmy G. You guys made Jimmy G look like Aaron Rodgers out there for some reason. But then again, this is kind of like a guessing game now because you don't know who's going to start this week. Like Shanahan's playing a guessing game, and then Jimmy Garoppolo just practiced yesterday, and he's getting some limited practice. And it looks like if he can go through the practice, it's a possibility he might start. And Jimmy G against the Rams, 5-0, I guess. That speaks volume right there.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I said it in my preview video as well. I think whoever ends up playing, Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, either way, the game plan is going to have to be the same for either of those guys. I think both of them can do well. I mean, like, yeah, you look at Garoppolo and the scope of the NFL and the quarterbacks that they have, and you're like, okay, he's not like a top 10 quarterback or anything, at least in my opinion. But you obviously with the scheme, and what Shanahan's been doing with us, he looks like a really good quarterback versus us. So I think it's just to me, it really doesn't matter who plays in the Rams. Like Von Miller was saying, he's preparing for both Lance and Garoppolo as if they're both going to be used in the game. And so I think that's the right approach. But either way, I think we have to have the same game plan versus both of them.
Yeah, that's how it should be because you don't know. Like, if you guys were just thinking, hey, it's going to be Trey Lance, and then nobody was telling you about Jimmy G coming out of practice, that would be the unexpected to prepare for. But when I look at this one, it's like, yeah, a lot of our DBs are going to the COVID list. I don't even know if they'll get to the protocol, but if they do, it's kind of like, wow, like not a perfect timing. So we were just like, yeah, you guys are healthy at the right time, and we're just getting a little, I don't want to make no excuses about it, but man, this is just not a perfect timing for us. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Like, I mean, you still have to take into account what you guys did with us when you guys were all on injured reserve. I still think, I think the playmakers that you guys have in Kyle Shanahan are all going to step up big for this game, especially when you have to take into account, like, yeah, you guys are fighting for a playoff spot. Obviously, there's other games that can help you still get in, but this is a big one for you guys. So I think I still think it's going to be a very hotly contested game. You guys are going to give us a run for our money for sure.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. And I expect the same way with you guys, but I don't know what happens, man. It's like sometimes I say the other way around, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, okay, so Pale time, I guess he's giving you a question. Question, who on the Rams or who on the Niners would you want as your teammate in a game of basketball 2-2? So if I had to pick, like, so you're talking about just picking like one person or two people on our team. Like, can you be specific, buddy? Because I think he said 2-on-2, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing you pick one player so that you're counted as one.
Okay.
So do I pick from your team?
No, I think he meant pick from a. Oh, wait, is that what? Okay, Pale, did you mean like pick on the opposing team or just pick? Or just pick on our team in general?
An interesting question for sure.
Yeah, it is one. I mean, Pale's got some weird questions, even the dating questions.
He knows how to stump a person, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he's already asking me some dating questions too. I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like he's asking me and John Jay about this dating question. He's a funny cat. Okay, but if I had to pick one player on my team, okay. I gotta say George Kittle. I just think George Kittle is a athlete and he could do a lot. What about you, man?
That's a very tough question. I think we have a lot of good players. I myself would probably pick Odell. He's good at a lot of sports, I think. Very athletic type of player. I think he could be really good. Or why not? Just put Aaron Donald in there. He could probably run through a guy and get there. I mean, that counts. I don't know. Or he just have lockdown defense. Those are my picks.
Yeah, I mean, George Kittle would be the kind of guy that he's got the height too. But then you got Debo, who's a really good player, and he can do everything. So then, I mean, there's quite a few other players. But if I needed somebody to block a pass and use their big wingspan body, maybe I'll use Ayuk on that situation because he's got those long arms. Yeah, I like to keep people's streams interesting. Yeah, you sure do. But speaking of the matchup, I mean, I know it kind of gets irritating when Sean McVay has to be asked these questions about facing Kyle Shanahan every other year. It's like they always ask him, how come you can't get over the hump? And he probably gives you like some smart answers and probably just plays it safe, you know? It's like it's kind of crazy how he has to put up with those questions consistently.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like whenever there's a big topic like this and they like to, it seems like when reporters find a question that they like, all of them ask it and they ask it consistently. So at this point, he's probably bothered by them, but you get almost the same answer. Like, gotta respect Kyle Shanahan. He's a great coach. He really helped me get to this level, whatever. And he's definitely a tough opponent, but we're gonna put our best play on the field. So like, I don't know, man. Yeah, some reporters just stick to those questions.
Yeah, sure does. So it's kind of like the same way with Shanahan, like the formula, and he just says we look at it as another team to face. So it's like that's how it goes. But when I look at this matchup against the Rams, I'm seeing them as a better running team this time around. And Odell Beckham should be able to have some chemistry. He should be able to build like a chemistry with Stafford because the last game he played, he just barely got here. So it's like if you guys can get to work and they can click consistently against our secondary, the best way for you guys to expose our secondary is to take those deep shots down the field. But that's if Stafford has enough time in the pocket too. So that can be the question.
Oh yeah, for me, I think you're completely right about the running game. Last time we played you, we had Henderson starting, and it's no disrespect to him. Henderson is still a good player and everything, but in my opinion, with the offense that we're running and the tempo we're establishing, Sony Michel is a way better running back. I mean, the offensive line could be doing a terrible job, and he still like pushes the pile for an extra 3 or 4 yards. And you guys, I mean, last time we played you, you guys were doing the same thing. Whether we stopped you right at the line, he just, whoever was at running back would be pushing, and it wears on the defense. I think that's what we've seen with Sony Michel. He's been able to just provide that power back that we need. And then defenses are scared of the run, so we can bootleg, do play actions off of that. I think last time we played you guys, we were doing a lot of spread sets, a lot of just nobody in the backfield to help Stafford at all, whether it's protection or a dump off. And that was really coming back to hurt us. But Michelle's really, really helped establish that tempo and what we're going to be doing on the offense for sure. And then when you talk about Odell, I just got to give him props last game for starting and actually playing, whether he had a big game or not, because I believe that was like his third or fourth day with the Rams, and he was playing. Like that's just impressive. I don't care what type of game he had. So the chemistry is definitely getting better. I think in the Vikings game, he could have had a huge game. Stafford was missing a lot of the passes to him, but I think each week we're getting more and more chemistry with him. And he's already had like 5, 6 touchdowns, I believe, with us already. So I mean, he's definitely made an impact. Definitely filling in for Robert Woods well. But yeah, I'm going to be excited to see what we bring to the table for sure. I think with the running game that we've established, like you mentioned, that's really going to go a long way for us.
Yeah, the running game's kind of been like the one focus for you guys because Cam Akers was out like he was going to be out possibly for the season, but then hearing the good news that he's going to be playing this week, that's kind of like surprising. Like, how'd you feel about that when you found out about that?
Well, yeah, so initially in October, I believe it was, Jordan Rodriguez, who works for the Rams, and she writes a lot of articles for the Rams and just herself, she mentioned that when she was talking to McVay, that there was a potential for Akers to come back for the playoffs. So I think Rams fans were excited at the time, but we were like, is this really true? Like, is this actually going to happen? Who knows? Because a torn Achilles is a serious injury for sure. But then I believe it was like last week or a week before that we were hearing rumors about Akers potentially starting the week of the game. And so, I was getting more excited. And then yesterday it was confirmed that Akers is going to play. I think for me, it's just incredible. It's an incredible feat on what he accomplished. Like a torn Achilles, like I said, is a huge injury to come off of in that short amount of time. And it's just unbelievable. So I'm happy for him. For me, I think it's also a positive because he's just an addition to our running game. It's not like we'll have to rely on him. I think that if he doesn't have the burst or he doesn't look like the same player or we're trying to push him back in too fast, it's good because we can just go right to Sony Michel, who's been running it well. So I think we're going to ease him in, kind of slowly, give him a few reps here and there, and then he'll really start ratcheting it up for the playoffs for sure. But I'm just very happy for that guy. I can't believe what he's been able to do.
Yeah, it's kind of remarkable. Usually those players are just out for the year, just for permanently and try to play it safe. But for this situation, he kind of has a huge impact for your guys' offense. But when you found out about getting Sony Michel in a trade, was it just like something you were just like, how the hell did we pull that off? And then, the Patriots just get rid of these players like a bag of peanuts. Like no disrespect to Belichick, but stop giving away talents, God.
Yeah, I mean, I was really happy to see that because I thought, again, like we've been able to see, I thought he brought good power to our running game because at the time, obviously, we knew Akers was injured. So we're like, okay, can Henderson really take a full workload with the injuries he's had, the type of player he is? So I really think that when I found out about that, I was happy not only because of the running and the power game that he brought, but I think the leadership and him being able to go to a Super Bowl and unfortunately beat us in the Super Bowl, he has that experience to bring to the team as well. So I was really happy about it, and I knew that the Patriots running backs ahead of him had been doing pretty good. So I know there was rumors about the trade, but when it actually happened, I was like, this is a smart move. I was surprised we pulled it off, but I'm glad that the second half of the season, we're really starting to see him get involved because it felt like the first half of the season, he just really wasn't getting any runs, but very happy about that trade, and it's definitely paid dividends.
Yeah, it is because it's helping your Rams be able to balance the ball more. Even though Robert Woods is gone, that's a huge loss because he does a lot more than just catch the ball. He's a good blocker. He's probably like your other guy that he can depend on third down plays and all that stuff. Well, to answer your question, LA to lose, I don't know. It's 50-50 because Jimmy's practicing. At first, I was like thinking, no way he's going to start, man. Come on. He has a torn thumb. Usually it requires surgery. You won't be able to throw the ball. It's pain tolerance. But if they put something on it, then maybe he might play. But if I had to be realistic, if I had to be honest, man, I don't want to sound like I'm a hater on Jimmy, but you need to set it out, buddy. I don't know, man. I'd rather just go with the rookie and see what you can get. And even if he doesn't make the playoffs, it's promising to give this guy some experience, That's what I look at. I don't even think that we're going anywhere further. If we get in the playoffs, that's a bonus, if I'm being realistic about it. But I just see this team more like you need to build around this quarterback and give him the weapons, which he's got the receivers and all that stuff, but maybe give him some better offensive line, maybe build around a team. But instead, Jimmy G just holds you back because it's a big cap space number. That's why Buckner and the rest of the guys were gone, because we didn't have enough money to pay him.
Buckner was a good player. I was surprised when that ended up happening. In my opinion, I feel like he's just like, I don't know. I feel like Buckner is a better player than Eric Armstead, but I mean, that's me. I have a question though for you. If we end up winning versus you guys, are you confident that you're still going to get into the playoffs? Like, are you confident that the matchup will play out in the way that you need it to? Or, like, what are your thoughts on that? Obviously, you want to win the game, but...
Man, so confidence, man. Let's put it into confidence. Like, okay, if the outcome comes in your guys' favor, do I feel confident we'll get in? I don't know. I don't want to rely on nobody else. But if the Saints have to lose, and that would be the confidence, then I would have some confidence that the Saints will choke to the Falcons, and Falcons will be spoilers. I think Falcons actually had the Saints number for quite some time. So maybe that's a miracle. Maybe you got to hope that the Falcons don't play spoilers, because if that's the case, I'm not feeling confident about it, because I think the Saints are kind of playing solid at the right time. They got Taysom Hill and they beat the Bucks, and the Falcons are who they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, this guy's funny. Oh yeah, and I guess this guy's a Seahawks fan, giving confidence right here. And then I guess Rams fans now he's just playing around. Yeah, these guys are funny. But in all seriously, it just depends on the Falcons, because I don't know. Something about Atlanta I just don't trust. Like, they choke.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I want to put my season on the line with a team like Atlanta? I can't count on them. So if I had to tell you about my confidence, I probably would not feel confident about it.
All right. Yeah, they're kind of a boring team also. They just don't do much well.
Yeah, they just disappoint people. So it's like, if I had to put my like a collateral damage and put my house on the line, I would not want to bet on the Falcons. No.
Oh, no way.
No way. But yeah, that's pretty much obvious. The confidence wouldn't be there. So, but if we beat you guys, the confidence will go up to the roof. We'll be able to play as spoilers and maybe make some noise and make some damages here and there. But once it's all about getting into the playoffs, as soon as we get in, we're gonna be like that hot team, maybe like the New York Giants of 2007, maybe the team like the 2010 Packers, teams that nobody gives a chance, It could be one of those teams. But when I tell you this like, let's say, like what you just said about the other question, like, let's say you guys do lose to us. Do you feel confident the Cardinals will lose to Seattle? Do you feel like Seattle will be able to beat the Cardinals and give you that division? Or you don't know?
I honestly don't. I know that I think I've heard that people say that the Seahawks play the Cardinals well. But to me, I just don't trust the Seahawks at all. I know that they can put up points every now and then, but like, they just have not been that impressive of a team to me. And I think with the Cardinals getting that win versus the Cowboys last week, that could be giving them some confidence to get rolling again. And so you don't want to have that. You don't want to have to rely on that. And then they win the division and they're smoking like they're on fire coming into the playoffs, getting their momentum back. So to me, no, I hope it doesn't come down to that case, especially if we beat you guys. We can celebrate the winning the division right after the game, not having to watch the other game. But no, to answer your question, I don't think that the Seahawks will have a chance versus them. I know it's divisional, but
it gets tougher too. So yeah, but then Seattle kind of plays tough with everybody, so it could be anybody's guess. I guess LA Duluth is asking a question if you're from the LA area.
I'm not from LA. I'm actually from St. Louis, which is how I started to like them, but I followed them to LA when they moved there.
Okay, yes, that's your answer right there. Yeah, he's not from LA, but he has the roots of St. Louis, like a fan of the. But you said your dad's a Bears fan, right?
Yeah, he's a Bears fan. It's hard for him to watch.
My dad, which God rest his soul, he was a Cowboys fan, but it is what it is. It's the other way around, It's like it kind of gives me the hard time, but I know how you feel because both your teams got 1 Super Bowl rings, and both my teams had like my dad has a 5 Super Bowl, so it's like it's kind of
Yeah.
weird, and
Yeah,
especially
for
my
sure.
mom too. Oof, nah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's Seattle's last game. This is our Super Bowl. Well, I'm pretty sure the Rams want to do that, but nah, they're not going to put their hands on you guys. They don't even trust you.
no,
Nah,
definitely not.
nah, I can't stand them. I can't stand them. Sorry. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like anytime I see my family brag about the Cowboys, it gets on my nerves. Like, I don't
Yeah,
want to hear you. I don't want to hear the stupid star again. Please, please
I
let me go.
know. I don't like I don't like the America's team phrase too. I'm like, okay, who said that you're the America's team? They just I don't know.
Yeah, I can't even stand that symbol. And then what's even worse is the Raiders. They're like
No.
they're a bunch of they're a bunch of cocky, arrogant fan base that I look
Yeah.
at. Yeah. Oh, Rams house. How do you feel about OBJ? Do you think he's good fit for the Rams?
Oh yeah, I love Odell. I think the more he's gotten involved, people may look at the numbers and the yards and everything like that and be like, oh, that wasn't a good trade. But he really does a lot for us because first off, people are trying to take away Cooper Cup, and that helps him get open. And then vice versa, you're trying to take away Odell, and he's like attracting all these defenders on him, and then Cup gets open or Jefferson gets open. So I think that aspect alone is really good. But also him coming in clutch in big moments, like last week versus the Ravens on that 4th and 5, Stafford throwing a dart in there for him. He was able to catch it with the guy behind him, not knowing if he'd get popped, reach for the first down, and then he catches the touchdown pass when we really need it and was aware enough to get it over the goal line. So I think for me, he's coming in the big moments when we really need him. And I think the more we go down the stretch when they're trying to take away players like Cup, that's really going to benefit us. And he's definitely had his fair share of end zone dances as well.
Yeah, he's entertaining, but can be a problem child, just like AB. But I think he's a good talent. Just has to be in the right mind. Oh, and Moses, I was kind of talking about that part. Yeah, our DBs are on the COVID list. It can really affect the outcome of the game, whether they're going to play or not. So that can be a tough task. I could definitely see it as an issue. But if our pass rushers step up, then I think that's just how it depends on how our pass rush does. I mean, I think Chosen One is just playing around. He's just goofing off, and he's just being a funny Seattle fan. I've seen a bunch of Raider fans. They're just the most annoying, arrogant fan base. They talk like Cowboy fans, but worse. They talk like they won the whole damn freaking Olympics or something.
I know.
I mean, what's even worse? You're hearing Cowboy fans talking about going to the Super Bowl, or hearing Raider fans just bragging with their Raiders. Like, oh my God, it's annoying.
It's crazy. Yeah, I think that for this game, one of my keys to the game for the Rams to win, because again, I definitely think you guys have a chance versus us. I think one of my keys is not having Stafford turn over the football because we have been seeing him turn over the ball, or just the offense in general, but we've been seeing him turn over the ball lately. And whether it's miscommunication or it's actually on him, it doesn't matter. We can't turn it over because, like we saw last time, when you guys get the ball, you're all ball control. You're holding time of possession versus us, and we're pretty much spotting points, especially if we throw pick sixes. So I think stopping and limiting those turnovers is going to be huge for this game because you guys, that just plays right into your hand of just controlling the game, controlling the ball, the time of possession.
Yeah, that's kind of been the recipe of beating you guys, is by taking enough time on the clock, which we've had 11 minutes on that one possession. And then when you guys fumble the ball or turn it over, we tend to capitalize it. So it's kind of like we get you guys at a good timing. So it's like, So as much as I hate to say it, like, I know Stafford in the fourth quarter, I think he has 11 touchdowns, 0 picks. But
Yeah.
if you just go back into the turnovers, this is not the time to throw in those turnovers to a team like us because we tend to capitalize. And even if it's in the third quarter, we always look to kill the clock. And that could be the issue. Yeah. So I think that's the only concerned thing about Stafford. Yeah, sure. Fourth quarter touchdown passes and no interceptions. That don't really mean much unless you have the lead or if you're just giving the team enough time to hold on to the ball. So like if Stafford were to throw in the ball in the midway to third quarter and we were able to run the clock and get it to the fourth quarter, that's not a good thing, you know?
Yeah, I agree, and I think that it's been interesting because you saw Stafford in the first half of the season, he was on fire, and then he has games where he's good, and then he has games where he's turning it over, he's just off, missing throws. It's just kind of weird. He's been that type of player for us where he's a little bit inconsistent. I think some of the wins that we've had is all due to our defense and due to the running game stepping up. Um, and I think for me, getting him in a rhythm early with some quick passes, getting that going, getting him in a rhythm early so that the confidence is up, get a good long drive to start the game. The Rams keep on starting the games with long drives, so I think doing that is going to be good. And also, if we can run the ball really well versus you guys, or at least just be physical, power running, kind of like what you guys have done to us, that will help hold back your pass rush because you don't know what to expect, and you want to stop the run as much as you can, but you can't fully commit to it. So I think that's for me. You got to get him in a rhythm early because you also saw in that Arizona Cardinals game how good he was. Like we were able to beat the Cardinals. He was having an amazing day. He wasn't missing throws. He was hitting really impossible throws, in my opinion. So you don't know what you're going to get out of him. So I think getting him in a rhythm early, getting the run game and the balance going is going to be key for us.
Yeah, it definitely will be for you guys if you want to have a chance to beat us. Yeah. So speaking of another question, I guess he's asking why you think Odell has been owned by Norman and history has shown it. Well, yeah, it's kind of been a shenanigan, but we're talking years ago. I don't know how different it is. I mean, it seems different with Norman lately.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak too much on that. I know that that was a big matchup back in the past. But for me, I was never somebody who really liked to watch the Giants games that much. To me, although they were exciting, I always just liked to watch my team a lot before. I wasn't as involved as I am now. So for me, I don't think Josh Norman's the same player that he used to be. I think he's going to have a tough matchup, but I can't wait to see what it's going to be and what the outcome will be.
Yeah, it will be. But I think if they had to put somebody with Odell, it would have to be somebody like Mosley or at least because he would be able to match up solidly better against Odell than Norman would, you know. But see, if I were the Rams, I would totally just throw in those deep passes because our secondary, they give away free yardage. Like you can get a PI or you can get at least some big plays. That's been our weakness. But as long as we get that pass rusher and we can get you guys enough pressure, that's where Stafford gets off his game a little bit. And as long as Brunskill goes beast on Donald, we will be okay. I don't see a lot of you Rams fans are probably just saying, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't even think he had like maybe one big play, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do. I'm not trying to disrespect Brunskill at all. I think the scheme that Kyle Shanahan has plays very well into how to stop Donald. I think he's one of the best at scheming against Donald as well because he has Deebo Samuel left and right. He's running against him, so he gets tired out. Not to say that Brunskill's a bad athlete at all, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then I guess, so how do you rate Trey Lance's performance versus the Texans? I give him at least a solid B, bro, because he still needs some work. I'm not going to give him A, bro. There's like second half, there was some work for him to work on. So, and then second half, he gotten better. So at least a B minus or at least around there. But I think he'll get better with experience. So like the Texan game was just a promising sample that I like, but I got to see more better out of him. But I do like the ceiling so far. And at Rams House, I have noticed that Odell cannot handle being pressed at the line of scrimmage. Have you noticed that?
I mean, there's definitely been times where, it's not the outcome that you would like. But to me, I think that's kind of the matchup that I want. I've seen on some plays where, because sometimes Stafford, it seems like he's only looking at Kupp, like with the chemistry that he has with him, where he misses other players. So there's been plays where people are pressing him right at the line of scrimmage, and he goes deep, he beats his guy. But I think it's just because the chemistry isn't there yet. Stafford isn't finding him. Sure, there may be times where he's having problems, but to me, that's actually a matchup I'd like to see one-on-one and pressing him.
Yeah, it seems like some receivers have struggles with that, but if all you got to do is just get physical with him a little bit, and then maybe it gets off his game a little, but it only works at a certain extent. But I think the difference between Norman is Norman's not that fast. Norman just knows how to do a technique, but it doesn't work as much unless he wants to be called PI for that. So it's like, does anyone know if our corner will be available? Well, I'm looking at the updates, and I think only like 3 or 4 guys are on the COVID list, and I think the only one that's a healthy scratch is I'm looking at it pretty clearly. It looks like that we have I think it's Dante, or wait, no, Dante's on COVID. Jimmy Ward is on there, and then we got Williams in there, and then Lenore. Just I don't know how does the back go from the COVID? Like, come on, seriously. and then I'm looking at another guy, yeah, and I'm like, come on. And then I look at Mosley. It's just like it's kind of like 50-50 if he's going to play this week. So I'm not putting my hopes up. And then I look at Norman. Norman's like the only one that hasn't caught the COVID. So it's like, God, has to be only him. Out of everybody else, it has to be Norman. Has to be Norman who hasn't caught it yet. Yeah. Hey, Jalen Ramsay's not the same. He talks a big game, but he is beautiful. Agree?
I personally, this could be biased for me. I don't agree with that. I've seen a lot of comments, especially after him getting into it with Taylor Rapp. A lot of people think he's not a top corner anymore. I still think he's the best in the business, even if he's not getting tons of interceptions. I think he's just great at guarding any receiver really well. Obviously, there's going to be times where he could be beaten, but there hasn't been plays where it's like he's beaten over top deep for a touchdown, or he had completely missed his technique, so now this guy's wide open. I think he's still a top cornerback in the league, probably number 1 in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and speaking of what he was saying about Trey, yeah, he's making a lot of progress. I'll definitely agree on that. He made some strides. And then looking at the matchups, Jimmy Ward's 50-50 because he's on the COVID. I don't even know if he'll clear the protocol. So Jalen Ramsay, yeah, the one thing about that I'll give credit for Jalen Ramsay is, like, he can back it up. Like, there's just not a lot of cornerbacks can just talk a big game and not back it up all the time. But this guy, he can back it up. Whatever he says at times, it can either field another receiver or he can just get under the skin. And that's what you need in most cornerbacks is that kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. You got to chirp on them. Yeah, you got to chirp a little bit, get in their head a little bit. And that's what makes DBs really good.
Yeah, I think that he, like you said, not many of them do that. And I think for him, it's the confidence that he's the best player on the field. I think that's just his mentality. And I think one of the guys we've seen him get under the skin of most is DK Metcalf for sure.
Yeah, that's what makes Ramsey a little more like kind of like you got to have that swag and you got to trash talk. And that's something he does. And then looking at the updates, and I'll say that look at the season he has. Okay, well, we're looking at other cornerbacks. Oh, yeah, we got this guy from the practice squad that we just picked up, Marquise Denard, which he's familiar. He's solid, but I don't know if he'll even be added to the roster. If it comes down to none of them playing, then we're probably going to have to promote him. He doesn't seem that bad, but then Mosley, I don't know if Mosley will play. I haven't seen much update, but I've heard that he might play. So there's a possibility. And then Ramsey, Ramsey can have his attitude, but the thing that makes Ramsey very good as a cornerback, like, you know what? I like a cornerback who can trash talk and actually deliver. I don't want some regular cornerback who's just going to play and just be like the nicest guy and say, oh, good play. No, I want this cornerback to come over here and say, you got lucky. I'm going to stop you next time. Instead of that, I don't want no nice cornerback. I want that dog.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then I'd take all these guys. Yeah, but the thing with Ramsey is you got to have some attitude in some extent. There's a thing called the emotional attitude because he cares, bro. Like he wouldn't do that to his teammate unless he felt the need to. I've been around sidelines where a certain teammate had to be spoken out and told him what you did wrong. And when I look at it as a player, it's kind of embarrassing in some extent, but you got to let your teammate know this is tough love and you need to do your job right.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that moment that happened last week was taken really far out of context and a lot of people are overreacting to it, but I'm not worried. And from what players have said, previous players in the NFL, like that stuff happens. It's just sometimes the camera won't catch it. I'm definitely not worried about that moving forward though.
Yeah, I think it's just normal for some teammates. Like if somebody messes up and they tell you over and over to get it right, and then they come at you face to face, and oh well, that's just football. I've seen it happen in sidelines. I've seen it happen on the field. So it's kind of like normal for some extent, but it kind of people kind of overreacted. So
Oh yeah.
when I look at this matchup, so Ramsey would have to cover. I would think you would want to put Ramsey on Debo at least, or Ayuk, whoever. Pick your poison, which one you want to cover. But Ramsey, and then you got that other dude, Williams. He's decent, and then you got your safety Taylor Rapp, and then what's his name, Jordan Fuller, and that's your safeties right there. And then your linebackers, Troy Reader. I think that's like your best one I can think of.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think so. For me, I would probably put Ramsey on Debo and on Kittle because I think Kittle's size and what he does well, it would be really nice to see Ramsey on him on some plays. I know the 49ers love to move Debo around a lot, so in some of those cases, Ramsey can't move if he's not in man. But yeah, I think those two guys, Williams is playing good. I think Dante Dion, another one of our corners, has been playing really well, especially from him being on the practice squad, not getting much time. He's been a really good player for us. For me, I say Troy Reader is a good run defender, but when you see him in coverage, he's just, in my opinion, he's not that good. We've seen him, the Rams, I don't know why they do this, but like they were putting him on Devontae Adams and he was just getting torched. So I think even last game, we saw you guys were taking advantage of the middle of the field where our linebackers were, and they were attacking that a lot. Our rookie, Ernest Jones, who has been playing really good, he's on the injured reserve right now. So we have Trayvon Howard stepping up, and he's actually a really good pass coverage guy, in my opinion. I think he could be better at stuffing the run. But circling back to it, I think Ramsey should definitely be on Devo, and he should definitely be on Kittle.
That would be the one key factor is to slow down those guys. But Ayuk's going to probably be another guy that has to step up. So when I look at this matchup, it kind of depends on how you guys cover those guys and be able to pressure a quarterback if you can get to Jimmy or if Trey's going to play for some reason. Whatever one happens, I don't even know who's going to start personally. I just don't know because it seems like for a minute, like Jimmy wasn't going to play. He was going to be out for the year. Now that he goes to practice, now it's kind of like a guessing game. It was like at first, I had an idea that it was going to be Trey Lance, and now I'm just like, man, he practiced. Maybe there's a good chance he could play after all.
Yeah, and I think for me, I'm leaning more towards Lance starting. I think Shanahan could be playing the mind game with McVay, them not knowing which one to prepare for. I don't know. It's definitely really hard. I'm right with you. I don't know why. I just have a feeling Lance may start. For me, my big key as far as the defense goes is stopping your guys' run game. You guys had like over 150 yards versus us last time, and in my opinion, I think if we can force you guys to pass it, I think we win the game. Like, if we're able to shut down the run, hold you guys to 40, maybe 50 yards, I think that we definitely win the game because to me, I think, yeah, you got some great weapons on there. You got good guys who can make explosive plays, but I trust our pass rush that we have. I trust the guys who we have covering. And to me, I just don't know if there's a ton of those giant explosive plays that the 49ers have made, especially down the field or anything like that. So for me, a huge key is stopping that run, and it plays in time of possession as well.
Yeah, it definitely does. That's what be the main factor. Time of possession will be the one key. But are you very confident in your offensive line blocking for Stafford in this matchup? I mean, you're going to deal with the likes of Nick Bosa, Arden Key, Jordan Willis, Samson Ebukam, who you guys let go in free agency. I mean, you got guys like DJ Jones. It's like these guys are hungry. And then you got Katavius Street out there. It's like we got a solid depth. I mean, these guys can step in and play pretty good.
Yeah, I think that you guys will definitely have your moments. I don't think you can hold down all those guys the entire game and just completely neutralize them. But what I will say is if the Rams get back to that power running again like we've been doing on like the last 5 games, I think that really helps contain them. And I think that we're going to be able to do a really good job against you guys as far as the pass rush goes. But I do think that there's going to be plays where Nick Bosa might get a sack or you guys are providing pressure. To me, I don't see it making as big of an impact as it did last game, especially with the run game that we got going, but it'll definitely be a factor.
Yeah, it has to be a factor for you guys if you guys want to have a chance. So it's like it does depend on how you guys can control the time of possession, because if you guys don't put enough time of possession, because you need to wear out our defense, and the more you wear up our defense, the more our offense starts to crumble. I don't know how it goes, but it kind of goes the other way around. Like the more you have time of possession, the more our offense starts to to be rusty and they get tired, and it's like I don't understand why they can't click. Like usually in the first half we look okay for a while, and then then later on we play late in the second half, and it's like what's been taking you guys so long? And I'm just hoping it's not the same thing we had in Houston. Because in Houston, we had a slow start. And if we get those slow starts, that can be an issue against the Rams. But if the Rams throw in those interceptions or cause turnovers, that's not what you guys need. So it's like it can be 50-50.
Yeah, it really can. And something that's been happening to the Rams lately as well is us coming out really slow. Or we put together a really good opening drive, and then we are just kind of slow, sputtering on offense for a quarter or two. And then we start to get going in the third quarter and stuff. That's something that we have to avoid as well, because sometimes we just come out of games really slow, and you wouldn't expect it with the types of playmakers that we have. It's just sometimes it just seems like we don't have anything clicking, so we got to do the same and not just lag to a start, because I know versus you guys are going to make us pay.
Yeah, we are, because the sooner you guys have that slow start, the sooner we might try to capitalize. But the problem is like we have a decent start for maybe a drive or two, and then we just we sputter just like you guys are, and then it comes until the second half, or maybe late in the second quarter we'd be able to get something, and then we have to wait to the second half to get it together. It's like one or the other. So it's like first half we play a little bit okay, and then second half we tend to just play a little bit better than expected. So it can be anybody's game. But when you look at this overall matchup, who do you expect to step up as the X factor, like the one unknown factor on your offense and defense? Like, name a player on your team who should be able to step up, even though he doesn't get enough recognition, and he can be the guy that can be the game changer for you guys for this matchup.
I think Sony Michel definitely could. Like, I know I've been raving about him the whole time, but I think he's really a guy who could decide this game as well with the type of running game that he has. I mean, he was playing the Baltimore Ravens last week, who had the #1 rush defense, and yeah, there was a lot of plays where he wasn't going anywhere, because that's what's going to happen when you're playing a defense like that. But it was the fact that on those plays that he was stuffed at the line, and he was still pushing in for 4 yards, and then he's creating plays down the stretch when you need him, like 15-yard runs. I think he could be a guy, because you're talking about guys who don't get enough recognition. I don't think I should say Cup, because I think that guy gets so much recognition now. I think Jefferson could be a factor, because when you're trying to stop Cup and Odell, I think he could be a guy who springs loose there. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm looking at a guy. I think Great Gaines could be a good player for us. I don't know if he's going to play for this game, but he was filling in for Sebastian Joseph Day since he went on IR. He's just been, Aaron Donald said it himself, he's been the best nose tackle in the league in his opinion. And this guy's like over 300 pounds and everything. You wouldn't expect him to be good, but he's a really good pass rusher, and he's really good at stopping those run gaps. And last time when we played you guys, we didn't have him playing. And so I think he could be also a big key, because he can stop the run, but he can also provide some pass rush.
That's the most key factor right there, is guys like him, and that can be determining the game right there. When I look at the X factor of my team, you can definitely look at a guy on offense that doesn't get much recognition, but he's been playing solidly lately. But if it comes down to the red zone or comes down to these crucial situations, I got to say Juan Jennings. He may not be a household name, but when it comes down to these moments to where you need to get a first down or get the drive, even if it's maybe 2 or 3 catches and you get into this crucial play, this is the guy that needs to step up. Defensively, Arden Key. I feel like Arden Key's gotten better. And I feel like if he can get Stafford like he did last time, besides Nick Bosa's getting all the attention. But when you look at it, at the end of the day, it's pretty much like Arden Key is pretty much looking to get himself a new contract. So I know he wants to play for something new. He didn't have a good fit with the Raiders, but now he's kind of finding a new home. He's already had 6 sacks this year, which is twice the amount of sacks he had with the Raiders. So it's like his 3 career sacks with the Raiders were pretty much wasted. So he got 6 sacks with the Niners. But I'd like to give a huge shout out to Joshua Ramshaw. I guess I want to read his words. Whose house? Ram's house. I'm just
You're not wrong.
No, but thanks for the super chat, bud. I'm just playing.
Is Arden Key a better pass rusher or a better run defender in your opinion? Because I don't know a ton about him.
Well, he's kind of a better pass rusher. Like if you put him in better situations, I don't know much as a run stopper because we've been using him on situational plays. But when he gets his opportunities to get to that quarterback, he can really disrupt it. The one player that's a good run stopper in our team is mostly DJ Jones, but he can do both. He can stop the run and be effective pass rusher. But I don't know. Ebukam, I think he's a solid run stopper too. So he's kind of like one of the guys that's been making tackles. And then Jordan Willis is like an okay player. Like he's kind of like a guy that stood out lately. But I think it has to come down to Arden Key. If Arden Key can get that pressure, because I've seen some games where Arden Key has like 20. I'm looking at the overall stats of him, even though he has 6 sacks. But when I looked at the overall, he has 22 quarterback hits.
Jeez.
And that's important. That doesn't get mentioned.
No,
22 quarterback hits means he's getting to that quarterback. And there's been times where he was very close. Like that play against the Bengals, he almost got Joe Burrow for that one play, and it was just maybe a little inch. But there's been plays where he got very close. And that's the one key factor is if Arden Key can get to your quarterback, that can be a game changer right there.
Mm-hmm. Is he a guy who rushes more off the edge, or is it just right up the middle?
Oh, they've been switching him around the middle. Like they've been having him play the middle. That's kind of been like the plays that's been working for him is play in the middle, sometimes outside, and they do these stunt plays. You know, as a defensive lineman, I've seen some plays and I'm watching how they're utilizing them better. And the best thing that he's done well is go in the middle. And he's been able to be effective. But then there's been plays to where he did a stunt play and one of his teammates did the stunt play and he went around and got to that quarterback. And those plays work pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, those are huge, those stunt plays, because they can really confuse an offensive line as well. I think with him playing mostly up the middle, but also he can like play in different spots, that's going to be big because I think for our centers, there obviously he's been a good center this year, but there's been times where the guy who's more physical can get around him quick, or he can just dominate him right up the middle. It's not every play, obviously, but that's happened. And I think when Stafford gets pressure up the middle, and I think this is kind of true for every quarterback. When you have pressure up the middle, that can really affect you because it's just coming right at you right away. And so I think that if he plays a big role and he's rushing up the middle, stunting, he could definitely really affect this game.
Yeah, it does. Any quarterback would hate that. Yeah, and I guess your boy Shay TV is giving you props for your jersey. And cool. Yeah, it's all love with all the Ramilia, I guess, in your guys' term. But yeah, definitely. But as far as your prediction before we get into the end of the show, I know you're probably going to look forward to it. I know it's going to feel like you got to get over the hump, you know, like in that old term of Steve Young, get that monkey off my back. I know you want to have that feeling, you know, get over the hump a little bit. But what do you feel about this prediction?
Yeah, I think the score that I'm going to say doesn't sound as close as it is, but I do think it's going to be a close game. I think 49ers play as close. If we do the keys that I've mentioned earlier, I think we come out with a win. I've been saying 24-13 all week, where we pull out late, where it's like it's pretty close a lot of the game, but then late in the third quarter we start to pull away. But now I'm kind of thinking 24-16 Rams win. What about you?
Man, that's kind of okay. I guess I can see where you're coming from, the confidence, and you're frustrated, you're upset, and it gets, you know, these Rams players are upset. They want to get over the hump.
Yeah.
And I would hate to go through that. Oh, and whose house? Niners house. Go Niners, sweep the Rams. Oh yeah. You know what? I'll give you the prediction. I think it's going to be a very close game, but every time I say it's a close game, it's the other way around. I don't understand. Like, I guess I'm just reverse logic. I guess I am good with that, but I always say it's a close game because I always expect the Rams to play a really good game. But if I had to come with prediction, it's going to be 20-17 49ers. And let's just get the broom and get it out the way.
No. I mean,
I'm just joshing you.
Yeah, you're good. You're not wrong. I mean, we got to prove that we can beat you guys. Otherwise, we're going to have to watch that.
Yeah, we got to see what happens. But, hey, let the best team win is all it is, man. And I know you guys have a lot. you guys control your own destiny, and you guys want to get the number 2 seeds or at least win your division. So I can understand that most of you Rams fans want to get over this hump because it gets very irritating. But we'll see, man. But Von Miller's Von Miller, the last time we played him, he just was barely getting accustomed to your guys. So
Yeah,
OBJ
this
was
game.
barely getting accustomed. So I expect the Rams to at least play a little bit better than that. Yeah, we scoring more than 13. He's tripping. Oh, shot fire. Now I'm just playing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
keep on going back from 13 to 16. I don't know how many points you guys will put up. If you guys get going in the run game, I think you put up more, but we'll see.
We'll see about it. Like, it depends on it. But I appreciate you on the show, and I'll give you your final saying so you can get the audience to check out your channel, and then we can end from here.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on your channel. Thank you all 49ers fans for listening to me talk. I have my YouTube channel is Rams House. Just talk about the Rams, game previews, news, everything like that. I'm sure you 49ers will love that. And then for Twitter, I'm at Rams House 2. I post a lot of artwork like this stuff back here. And that's pretty much all you can expect from me. But thank you so much, CG, for having me on your channel, and thank you, fans, for watching.
And no problem. Anytime near future, we can definitely collaborate again, and you're more than welcome, dude. You have a great content, and you and Pale and the rest of the Rams. This has been a tough gauntlet. These Rams gauntlet. I gotta enjoy this challenge.
All right. Thank you so much, man.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
See, there you too. CG Ruthless Sports and Rams House is out, and you already know. Go Niners.